Hey! Hi, Kevin. How are you, boo? Thumbs up the live. Well, you're the first one in the room right now. How you doing? Hi, guys. Ciao. I'm finally on. Finally. Your retrograde was kicking my ass. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so. I'm not sure how this camera is translating on the other side when I put on the playback. Obviously, I'll be able to see. But this is a whole new laptop, guys. So I don't know if you guys saw my short that I put up because I was, hey, Mr. What If? Yes, thank you. So I put up a short because what happened was I was supposed to be on from earlier from like 2 o'clock. My laptop started to act a little funny. And I didn't trust that since we're on live for like an hour and a half, I'm like, you know what? Let me not fuck around and like go on live and my shit's not in order, right? So I just went, fuck it, I'm gonna go to my dude and see if he could fix it. But based on the things that needed to get fixed on it, he's like, bro, it just works out better if you just buy a new one and I'll give it to you for a good price. So I got a new laptop again out today. So the camera is different because I was very finicky about the camera because I really liked the camera on my last one, on my old one. I really liked the camera and like everything. So like I was like taking little shots and seeing like how everything is, but from how it looks like y'all are liking what you see, so I'm happy. I'm happy. So that means it's good. So that means this camera's doing what it needs to do. But anyways, what's been going on with you guys? We haven't seen each other in like 2 weeks. So what's been going on? My July was great. I actually went to Barbados. I was in Barbados for 3 days. I was helping direct a music video, which was really great. So I did that. So look out for me. It's been so hot. It was extremely hot here. Rihanna's country, yes. It's my second time going to Barbados. The first time I went was like 7 years ago. So it was my first time back in a while. And it was really nice. The energy was good. It was all good vibes, everything. And we had an amazing shoot. Granted, I did go to the water first and petition because it was retrograde. So I was just like, okay, like we need to make sure that this shoot goes smoothly. So just all around the world, child. I know, girl. Like, I've been in like all over. Like already, we're in July. Where have I been? Trinidad. Well, I passed to the states. Trinidad. Then I was in Spain. Then I was in England, and just recently I was in Barbados. And I was also Chicago. I'll say Chicago just because I had an 8 hour layover and I actually left the airport. So we'll say Chicago too. What would you say Barbados has that Jamaica doesn't? Barbados is a little bit more modern. Their currency is better too. So, but Barbados is very expensive though. Like Barbados is like things are just as much as it is here. Like it's actually insane. Um, it is a beautiful country. Like literally, because it is a small island, it's almost like anywhere you damn near go, like in the island, not even 5 minutes. You're only like 5 to 10 minutes away from the beach, and their beaches are beautiful. Like out of all the others I've been to, Jamaica has some really good beaches, but like Barbados's beaches are like next level compared to the islands I've been to before, right? But it was good. The first time I went, I didn't like the food, but this time I went, the food was great. Um, the energy was even better too. Like I felt like last time I didn't. There was the energy was a lot off. You know what I mean? But this time I went, it was like really good vibes. Like not just like vibes on set, but like and the people I was with, but like even the people we met were all like really good vibes. You know what I mean? So yeah, I had a good time. So I made a short little vlog, which I'm gonna post it sometime this week. Maybe Wednesday. I think I'm gonna post a vlog because I started filming it and then like I didn't quite end it, so now I'm still going back and forth on how I'm gonna actually end the vlog. So y'all should have a vlog this week and get a little touch and feel for me outside of doing readings and stuff. Hi, Erin. Did I read on Taylor and Travis? Who's Taylor and Travis? Yes, they do. I'm not sure if she's. I know she's LGBTQ, but I'm not sure if she actually identifies publicly as that. But she is, and she's a very good prime minister too. They love her there. When I was asking about her, they love her there. They really, really fuck with her over there. If you guys haven't already, be sure to like the video. All right, so let's get into the readings. Give me some time to adjust to this. I feel like a fish out of water with this new setup. Okay, so today we are going to be reading on Mark Carney and Donald Trump. As you know, there was a little situation going on with the forest fires that were up in or northern Canada. Some of that came down to America and messed up the air quality. Hey, Nas. We're going to be reading on Stefon Diggs and his current charge from his stylist. We're gonna touch on the city girls. I don't know why, but my spirit was like, let me touch on these two girls. I don't know if something's coming up for them. We have a spiritual channel message coming in from the seven African spirits. And we're gonna close off the reading with touching base on World Cup, the champions. Of course, La Rojas, Spain won the World Cup, but touching on Lamine Yamal, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Messi. Okay, so let's open up with prayer. Lord Jesus, we give you the praise and the glory and the gratitude, God. And we thank you for every great thing that you have done in our lives in the name of Jesus. I pray that you cover every single person in this room. Jehovah Jireh, as you are a God that always provides. And I pray that anyone in this room right now that is going through any issues or any issues in the name of Jesus or worried about how they will provide in the name of Jesus. I pray that you put a divine blessing over them and fill their baskets, God, in Jesus' glorious name. I pray that there is glory and goodness over everybody in this room as well, especially when it comes to peace of mind in Jesus' glorious name. Peace of mind and alignment, God, in Jesus' glorious name. I pray that especially as God, you've been putting on my heart lately as not uncomplicating situations, God, in the name of Jesus. I pray that anybody that's in this room going through any difficult situations, that they see their ways through it, God, in the name of Jesus. I pray, God, that you give them the golden key on their roads, God, in Jesus' glorious name, so they can find their way easily, God, that they open the right doors and close the ones that no longer serve them, God, in the name of Jesus. I pray that there is positive energy and respect in this room in the name of Jesus, especially honor, God, in Jesus' glorious name. We pray, God, in the name of Jesus, any siphoning energy, God, in the name of Jesus, that we break every demonic chain, God. We break every stronghold in the name of Jesus, and we break every calculation that has been placed against from the enemy, God, in the name of Jesus. May this always be a safe space for us to have enjoyment, to have laughter, insight, and revelation in the name of Jesus. In Jesus' glorious name, I pray. Cover everybody in this room right now. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Ifrita Fastanisa. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so as you guys know, some people in this room, especially that live in America, because majority of my followers are from America, did not actually experience this. But here in Toronto, because what had happened was there was a huge fire that happened. It happened, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it started at a barn where over 20,000 pigs were killed in this fire. The fire grew to the point that it got obviously in the forests. and created and burnt out acres and acres of land. Now, this actually took place in northern Ontario, which is Thunder Bay. I'm actually in Toronto, so that's about Thunder Bay is about a 17-hour, 18-hour drive. As Canada is not a big country when it comes to population, landmass, we're very huge. The size of Ontario alone, in that drive, I can drive through at least like 5 or 6 states. You know what I mean? So, because of that, and all the forest fires and everything that has happened, and because there was also same thing that was happening in America, where there was cuts when it comes to forestry and rec and all those good that stuff by our premier, which is Ford. I guess there wasn't enough protection or that caused for a lot of wildlife or forestry to actually be vulnerable to fires. So because of that, what ended up happening is we. I remember it was Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? I woke up. I went to go bring my son to camp, and I'm looking at the sky, and we're all like, it's a bunch of us on the streets is looking at the sky, like, why the fuck does the sun look like that? Because at first in the morning, it wasn't that yellow yet. Okay. If anybody's seen any videos of Toronto and how Toronto looked, it literally looked like we were in like a simulation of a Narcos video, like a Narcos movie or show. And like, it's like it's like outside had this yellow, like Western, like Mexico-ish like filter, okay, and the air all you could smell was smoke. So that was a huge thing. Like a thank you, like a sepia filter, thank you. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? So obviously that happened because of the fires that were happening up north. So of course, when it comes to smoke, it travels. It made its way. I think in the last couple days, it made its way to more of the northern states, northern eastern states like New York, Pennsylvania. I know I talked to my daughter. She was saying like, oh, the air quality was fucked up too because it traveled obviously down there. So there's this big thing and this controversy going on right now talking about this whole carbon tax. Okay, so some people think that there's a conspiracy behind them wanting to enforce getting more carbon tax out of the people. Okay, so with that being said, I think most recently what ended up happening. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just correct me as I go. But Donald Trump was really upset by what was happening with Canada, and he felt like pretty much our country is fucking up the air quality in in America, and now he wants to go as far as finding ways to tax us for that happening. So I pretty much wanted to tap in and to see what was going on with that and what's the future between the relationship between Canada and the United States, because who knows if this could be a catalyst for something bad to happen. So let's get into it. I honestly genuinely feel like this was really an accident. Like I'm getting the energy because when I'm seeing Mark Carney, which is our prime minister, I see him kind of looking around like, okay, so like what happens next? You know what I mean? I genuinely feel like this was an accident. When I say accident, I feel like this was an accident in the sense that it wasn't connected to any plot or any storyline that was coming from the government. I genuinely feel like I get a sense that when it comes to the person that actually started the fire, I think it had something to do with insurance of some nature. You know what I mean? I feel like that's where you froze. I'm tired of this frozen ass. But yeah, I feel like that's where there's a situation where things are sticky. Okay. I almost get the sense that what happened is that the barn or whatever the case may be, the establishment hasn't been up to grade for a very long time. And I feel like if there's like, say for example, like certain buildings and establishments, they do like the routine checks or whatever the case may be. Like I feel like it was like a band-aid fix that they've been doing it this whole time. You know what I mean? And I think it was just what ended up happening because I see gas. I do see pouring of gasoline, but I also see gas leakage. Okay, and that's what was the cause of the fire. What I actually do see what's going on with what's going to end up happening with Mark Carney and Donald Trump. I think that Donald Trump is going to continue to send some shots. You know what I mean? It feels to me that he's trying to find. Donald Trump is trying to find a way because what's going on behind the scenes, as you know, like lately, if you notice anything about the White House, they've been very quiet lately, so to speak. Is like he's trying to find a way for the things that are about to come out to try to find somebody to blame. You know what I mean? And it feels like he's trying to find what stick whatever against the wall that sticks. But I'm gonna be honest. Again, I feel like his mental state, especially because of dementia or whatever the case may be, is still starting to diminish in some way. You know what I mean? So as much as he would like to try to see if he could profit off of this situation, I don't feel like he's really mentally or even like health wise in the best place to even like try to come for Canada in any way. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're going to start to see when it, and it's no pun intended, when it comes to Donald Trump, it's like he's going to start fires, but like they will go out very quick because he ain't got enough gas to light them. You know what I mean? Or keep it going, so to speak. So I don't think that it's going to be one of those situations where I feel like there's going to be some controversy coming up maybe within the next couple of weeks. I don't know why I see something that has to do with army or whatever the case may be. I don't know if I would be surprised if there's going to be a little threat of some sort. But I feel like when it comes to Mark Carney, like Mark Carney's going to throw out the rule book. You know what I mean? I think Mark Carney's a president that is very much by the book. He's very much by the rules and whatever the case may be. And I don't know why I get the number six, but I feel like he has like six different like backup antics that if anything goes left with the United States. So it's like to be honest, when it comes to Carney, he is 10 steps ahead. He is 10 steps ahead when it comes to Donald Trump because he I think he's really good at reading personalities and watching the patterns of people. Because I feel like Mark Carter is a person that sits back and watches pattern. You know what I mean? He's like one of those people that you could tell like he's as good as what he does because he pays attention to forefathers and people that come before them, right? So I get when it comes to Mark Carney, at the end of the day, what's going to end up happening is like even if Donald tries, it's like he got something in the bag where he can swerve it whatever direction he needs to swerve it. If you guys just came in the room, be sure to like the video. But like that's the energy that I do get. So I actually get the sense that I feel like there's gonna be something coming up in the next 2 weeks. There could be some money exchange, but I feel like it's gonna be dusted off the table pretty quickly. So that's what I get with that reading. Any questions? Any questions? No? All right, so let's move right along. Well, look who we have here. So this has been a person that has been brought up here in this room before, and he's back here on the list again. Okay. And I remember when I did this reading on him, I think I read on him back in like February. Okay. And I remember talking about, no, he definitely needs to go, Donald Trump. I remember talking about Cardi B. And I said, listen, when it comes to this young boy that you're dating or this guy that you're with, you need to go mind your own business and do your own thing. Let him go through what he got to go through, child, because he needs to, because he's been making bad decisions. And through those bad decisions that he's been making, he's going to have to pay the piper so he learns this lesson. It's almost like a baptism. It's almost like yeah, obviously like a humiliation ritual. This is what you got to go through when you're coming into the industry and you're becoming famous at the end of the day. You have to realize just because you have the access, the money and the power and the fame to certain people, or you feel like you can have that upper hand over people, it always comes at a price. So who I'm reading on, as you probably could tell so far, I'm reading on Stefon Diggs. So I'm gonna ask y'all to help me build the story as I go, okay? Because I didn't read the full story of what's going on. But right now, Stefon Diggs is back in hot water again. This time he's in hot water, and it's an interesting case because the accusation is coming from a male. And I believe it's a gay male at that, that was once his stylist. Some of the allegations that have been stated is that Stefon Diggs had tried to make some advances towards him. They have over 200 pages in text messages of Stefon Diggs making inappropriate advances towards him. Now I know, hey, oh, he's not gay. He's married to a woman. Oh goodness me. Okay, so he even gets thicker, child. So he's actually married to a woman. Did Stefon Diggs actually do anything physical towards him? Were there any physical, whatever? Oh, they had him jumped and robbed. Okay. All right. So yes, there's a lot of allegations that are upon the table right now. I feel like from what I'm sensing, it's very thick in evidence. I don't feel like this guy like I don't feel like this guy is coming like how the chef was coming, man. He coming with some concrete hard facts. You know what I mean? That's what they say though, because he didn't sleep with them. But let's get into it. So I'm just gonna read around the whole situation of what's to come and what's gonna end up happening with the situation and go from there, child. I don't think the stylist is lying. See, when it came to the actual chef, I feel like the chef that was making accusations towards him, I feel like a lot of it had to do out of spite. You know what I mean? So I feel like there were some parts of the storyline that were fabricated and some things that were conveniently left out. When it comes to like this guy's story, I feel like his shit is pretty ironclad. Because I get like he doesn't just have events of like 200 text messages, but he has like the right witnesses of certain things that have happened and everything that also led up to the situation. Did he try to stop his bag too? Because I don't know why I'm getting that as well. Like, did he try to stop his bag? Because this is what I'm sensing over the situation. Because the thing is, he won is because against his brother 10 million. Yeah. Okay. Because I get the sense when it comes to him. Okay. The biggest thing when it comes to Stefan Diggs' side, a lot of the times when I see Stefan Diggs say things or whatever the case may be, he's been under the influence. You know what I mean? I don't know why I'm getting this energy. Like this whole gay thing that he got going on, I feel like it's almost one of those things like Stefan has something going on amongst his friends. You know what I mean? It reminds me of this story. You remember? Okay, did you ever see the story? I don't know if it was on TikTok. He won his case against Stefan's brother, had a robbed and beaten. Okay, so I don't know if you ever seen this story on TikTok. So there was a story, right? And it was about this girl, and she had her boyfriend. I don't know if it's a fiance or whatever. And her boyfriend had this group and it was called like Bang Bros or something like this. You know what I mean? So I guess she decided to like figure out what this group was all about, whatever the case may be. And when she looked in the group, it was pretty much them like all talking about fucking each other and whatever the case may be. Like there was pictures, there was videos, like even meetups, like even meetups or whatever the case may be. Like all types of shit. You know what I mean? I feel like Stefan Diggs has a group of niggas. I don't know why I feel like it's him and three others, right? Where they kind of got something like that weird going on. But I don't feel like it's only with I don't feel like it's only with like men. It's also with women or trans women. Like it's like their own little freaky way of how they go about doing things. You know what I mean? I feel like when it comes to Stefon Diggs, why he even got this guy all robbed or whatever the case may be, whatever happened with the situation, because I feel like Stefon Diggs is the kind of person that tries to get you to do things with try to do things without having to say too much. In this situation where he fucked up at is that he said too much. So it's like he gave the person too much info to kind of piece together what he was truly really trying to get at. Usually in situations that he's been in before, is like he's able to not say too much, get you in that position, probably get you high, get you partying, whatever the case would be, comfortable, and then things go down. And it's because things go down and they don't go down as planned. It's like you probably wake up the next morning with the shame. You know what I mean? And he's able to use that shame against you in some way so that he can actually gain control back of the situation. Like that's something that Stefan Diggs would usually do. But in this situation, this nigga wasn't going for it like that. I think the reason why, because I think biggest thing that I think that where this guy started not to go for shit, because what ended up happening was, it's like it started to feel like when it came to conversations of money and money needed to be talked about, he would always try to steer away from it. You know what I mean? So you ever have that person like, and this happens for every business owner, like where you have that client where it's like, okay, you can have a like you have a very like you guys, you guys may be cool or like not cool, but you guys have built a rapport where it's like you guys could be a little bit more comfortable than it being so serious and professional as a client. That you start to notice that your client sometimes will even try to slip in and try to see what they can get out of you without having to pay, or you know what I mean, or where it's like, okay, we're having this conversation, but I haven't seen you send me the PayPal yet. Like, what's going on? Like, are we doing a session or are we not? Like, that's the energy I'm getting, where it's like he was starting to do little things where he tried to be a little bit too personable, and it's like, okay, wait. Okay, hold on, like we like bring it back here. Okay, so I got these outfits for you. I got these looks. It's gonna cost you 10 grand. So about my money, like it started to get like that, and I think that's where Stefan Diggs like fucked up with this dude, because when it comes, one, the guy's not gay. You know what I mean? Obviously, evidently, from what you guys were saying, but two, it was like the guy was a cool dude, but like he doesn't fuck with his bread. You know what I mean? Like that's the energy that I'm getting. You know what I mean? So with that being said, that's what I feel like happened with that situation. I definitely feel like this guy's gonna walk away. He's gonna walk away with something. You know what I mean? So now, what's this whole thing with Cardi B and what Cardi B had to say? What's going on with the numbers in here? Let's see. Let's see. What was Cardi B saying? Okay. 1 second, guys. She's trying to defend him, but I think she needs to sit this one out, because I feel like Cardi B does not even know what was going on with that situation at all, like that. This is the problem. Cardi B, okay, I understand. Okay, this is where I think with Cardi B. Cardi B feels like, sometimes Cardi B feels like, because she's a person that always has an opinion, that when she doesn't say things, people are gonna always look and like pester her at coming up with an answer or saying something. You know what I mean? But Cardi B has to get to a place where she needs to realize that she doesn't always need to have the last word, or she doesn't have to always explain shit. You know what I mean? Like sometimes let people just say what the fuck they're gonna fucking say until you gotta genuinely actually address it. I don't feel like in this situation that Cardi B knows as much as she could know for her to have an opinion. I think that Cardi B is having that itch in her because she cares about what people think. You know what I mean? Especially like Cardi B, obviously, she cares about what people think, and like especially when it comes to her and him. For example, like situations like this or stories like this, she always gets tied into them, and then people start to drag her for it. But in reality, it's like it's one of those situations that this is something that this nigga did. You know what I mean? And I understand as a woman and you're in a relationship, you want to defend your man in certain ways. You know what I mean? All you really could do is defend him behind the scenes when it comes to the legal stuff. I think like this is not an argument you can win, especially when there's so much evidence that's actually piled against this guy and what actually happened. Because I don't get that this man is really lying. Even if it's like, even if there's no truth in it, it's not because he's actually twisting a story. It's because he's going on based on the truth, based on his observations of things that took place. Yeah, but they don't publicly say they're together, but you know she's still messing with him in some way. She's still got a weak spot for him. It's like they're together, but they're not. You know what I mean? It's like she's doing her own thing, or she's just kind of like, okay, taking a step back. But in reality, it's like that's her nigga. You know what I mean? They both know what it is. But I feel like Cardi B needs to sit, like I said before, in the last reading I've said about her, she needs to sit this one out. Let him deal with this on his own. Because this is a product of him making bad decisions, and those bad decisions coming from him thinking that he can manipulate and have control over people. He thought he was going to do all this shit and nobody was going to say nothing to him because he's Stefon Diggs. And he learned very quickly. You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes when these situations happen to somebody, especially early in their career or in general, where it's like you get that bite at first hand, is because God really has a different calling on your life. You know what I mean? And it's like God wants you to actually pay attention to the actions and the things that you're doing and not allowing yourself to be so engulfed in worldly things. But I also get this too because he's also with Cardi B and has a child with Cardi B, and a Cardi B being a child of a Chosi is why this guy's karma is whipping around and coming back to him so fast. I see her with yes, the African footballer. What did I say though? Did I say in my last reading? I said I'm like, yo, she needs a guy, okay, that's not really in the scene. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, this footballer, he's more like into football, as in like into soccer, and he's more like European. You know what I mean? He's not really engulfed in that African American world. You know, but at the same time, he's still got some bread going for himself. He's still got some clout and notoriety going for himself. You know what I mean? That will have her attracted to him. But she needs somebody that's like that. Yes, Nas. I don't know if they're actually talking. They were definitely seen together. From what I see and what I can sense, and even from the video that I saw, he's very much attracted to her. But I don't know if she's gonna go that far. But she needs that though. She needs to get away from these hood niggas. Ain't nothing good's gonna come around. And there's only so much of them to go around now. Ain't no good gonna come out of that child. She needs something different. Something that's outside of your norm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, she's out with him now. But I know there was a fashion show. He's sexy though. Oh my god, he's so sexy. Sorry. I get in trouble. But he's so sexy though. I was like, yo, this guy's mint. That guy's butter. Like, just his, it's not just his looks, it's his steez. You ever see a really good looking guy? And it's like, yeah, they know they're good looking, but it's almost like they don't know how good looking they are. So they're just like they're just on some calm shit about their sexiness. Like that's him. He is sexy, man. Bro, but listen, I tell you, I love soccer players, eh? Like those European men, those soccer player type guys act like yo, there's a huge difference between like North American athletes and European athletes. I find like European athletes, like Yeah, they fuck around too. I'm not saying that they don't, but like if they're really taking you on, they take you serious. Because majority of the men that plays like soccer or whatever, they're all family men. A lot of these guys have family or are married or whatever the case may be. They've all had their fair share of bachelor days, but a lot of them are married. They like to have their girlfriend. It's almost like army. It's almost like army men. Like how army men. Like if you were with an army guy, you know for sure you're gonna get that ring. You know what I mean? Like that's how that's how like soccer guys are. Soccer men. They're sexy. Ooh, child. They're mint. I can already say. Yeah. Listen. I used to like before, like obviously I like Ronaldo, like Ronaldo's attractive, but if it's but any of those soccer guys, that's my guy. Is Zlatan, yo. Zlatan is all the way my tea. If you want to know my type in men, like attitude, energy, everything, Zlatan. Like I love a man that knows he's a shit, or like has a little bit of an assholeness to him. I don't know. Because I not like that. But I like a man that's a little bit of an asshole. And it's like whatever. Like and down for whatever, ready for whatever. And that's not that. It's not that sexy, bro. But that guy is a good guy. But I feel like if she dated that guy, if that relationship would really be on some calm shit. Like he would calm her down. Like I feel like she would be on some real calm shit. Like you won't really hear about Cardi B and anything going on with her other than her and than the music. If he started like she actually started taking on that guy serious. Like he's gonna make her feel like she and that's the problem with Cardi B. Like Cardi B, as much as she meets men with money, but they're not alpha men. They're better because like Cardi's an alpha female. She has a very strong personality. But the men that she's been with, they've had money, yes, but they're not alpha. Yeah, he's the best. I don't know, man. He ain't make. I don't think he's making that stuff go to his head. That guy, but he's so cute. He's mint. I don't care what he says. He's mint. He's butter. I don't think so. She needs to kill and stay away from men for a while. She's attracted to the same type. Exactly. Because she likes the same type. And the reason why she's attracted to the same type, because Cardi B likes that same kind of she likes that toxicity a bit. She is attracted to that toxicity. But the problem is with Cardi B is like, to what extent does it come with? Because if you start talking to a nigga and he has toxic ways, you never know where his toxicity could take you down. And that's the problem where Cardi B get fucks up at with these guys. Is that there's somebody texting me? Let me see who's texting me. Who's texting me at this time at brass night? Oh, yeah. Don't get pregnant. I don't think she wants to get pregnant. Exactly, Nas. Don't get pregnant again. I don't think she wants to get pregnant again, though. I think she learned her lesson. I think she learned her lesson because she had this baby. Remember, when she got pregnant with him, she didn't think that she was not going to end up with him. So I think she knows from now, no. I think right now Cardi B is really focusing on being like a mom. You know what I mean? Like really actually spending time with her kids because it's like everything happened so fast. Remember, she just had a baby. As soon as she had the baby, she went on tour for that long time. She had appearances, things like that to do. So like it's like as much as she's been around her kids, I don't feel like she feels like she's been as present as a parent. So in this season, like she's really like, okay, yo, I need to slow down. I really spend time with my kids. Like I get that. Like I feel like also too, I wouldn't be surprised that maybe she's going through, like she because of things happening so fast. If she's actually got a chance to really sit with the transition of the father leaving the house and how the kids are adapting to that. You know what I mean? Or the co-parenting situation. But something is telling her like focus her energy back to her kids. Like I feel like yeah, she'll date, but she'll treat that as like leisure time. You know what I mean? Like okay, I have myself a little boyfriend, and on a Friday night or on the weekend when, the kids are at their dad's, or, it's a Friday night and the kids are in bed, like that's when we like step out and kind of go do our own thing. Like that's kind of the energy is. She's in, but she's putting a lot of energy into her kids right now. That's where I feel like her focus, where she wants her focus to be. So, any questions? Any more questions about the Stefon Diggs and the guy that is suing him situation? If you just came in the room, be sure to like the video, please. I feel like he's gonna lose. He's gonna have to settle. I don't think he's gonna win. I wouldn't be surprised Cardi B is gonna do some juju on the situation, but I feel like he's not. I don't see him coming out unscathed. I don't see him coming out unscathed though. It's almost like I see like this, like three quarters, like this. Like if we were gonna chop the situation into quarters, and it's like he could have got out scot free, but that last quarter is what held him back. His fashion definitely gave it away, child. I don't know, man. Like sometimes I feel like when it comes to like I understand like when it comes to football and stuff like that, like it can be somewhat like you're seeing these men naked all the time. Like there's like a brotherhood there, you know what I mean? And maybe like through doing that and those experiences, like you guys get an attraction for each other. But I'm gonna be honest, I feel like there's something that's ritualistic in some way when it comes to how some of these men get with their sexuality. You know what I mean? I don't know why I feel like there's like something ritualistic there in some way. Because it's like, when you, for every famous person or situation or whatever, there's different groups of people, fraternities, if you will, that you're a part of. And usually when that happens, then that's when you see certain shit go down. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there was an end goal. It wasn't just getting a nut. Yeah, they're very touchy feely with each other. Very touchy feely. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Depending on how things feel, things could happen. But I don't think like that's the only thing that's happening. Like that's the energy I get. Because I feel like I don't know why I feel like the end goal was more than just getting a nut. Like he had a motive. You know what I mean? There was like something he wanted to do. Like I said, the jet guy. Any questions? Okay. Prince of Fashionista says no. Any more questions? No? Okay, we're gonna be right on. All right. So we're reading on next. We're reading on the City Girls, which is JT and Young Miami. Of course, you guys can help me build the story as well if there's anything that you've heard in the news, but I'm going to go based on what I've picked up. The reason why I'm reading on these two, I just get a sense, like, especially as we know that Carisha just recently, not that recent, but she pretty much dropped the song of the summer or the song of the late spring with Spend That Shit. And it has recently, in the last few weeks or a couple weeks, has hit number one. And this is her first, I don't know if it's her first or her second solo album since the City Girls have dismembered, right? As you know, for JT, JT's in a relationship with Little Uzi Vert. You know that there's always been rumors swirling around about Little Uzi Vert's sexuality and things like that, and of course, a huge contribution to her image and how she's changed and what she wants to do in the industry has um, been influenced by her relationship being with him. A lot can say that the reason why they actually broke up has to do with Little Uzi Vert and his influence on JT and her switching up on Carisha. Also, I do see, also some people can say too when it comes to JT and some of her ways of why she's trying to pull back her energy away from Carisha, is especially when Carisha got caught up with the whole Diddy situation. And as you know, that everybody that was associated with Diddy in some way, or whatever the case may be, were lambasted. You're pretty much guilty by association. And around that time when that happened, Carisha was dating Diddy. Um, JT and Carisha were really close friends, as you guys know, or maybe some of y'all know. JT is actually the reason why Carisha actually started rapping, and that's how they formed the City Girls. What ended up happening is, you know, JT caught a case. She was in jail. Carisha held it down for her while she was in jail, and carried out the name and really built kept the foundation of their popularity. So by the time that JT actually came out, she was able to monopolize on that. Shortly after that, she got with young Lil Uzi Vert, and the rest is history. As you know, when it comes to JT, there has been controversy around that because, of course, a lot of her content, her imagery, or whatever the case may be. Hey, I'm pregnant or all, she carried them. When it comes to JT, a lot of her imagery, a lot of her content, and the things that she's done have been very Baphomet, satanic, ritualistic of nature. As you know, that she has been seen a lot around Rick Owens and his wife, and you know that they have been, you know about Rick Owens, but you know, especially with his wife, she's known to be one of the biggest, I guess, witches in the industry, so to speak. So that says a lot to what her crowd is and probably what she's actually into. So let's tap in to see what's going on around them and what's to come. And are we gonna ever see a City Girl album ever again? JT feels bad. I get the sense that they talk sometimes. Like I feel like it's one of those things that I don't feel like it's odd if one or the other would message each other, like maybe during a holiday or just kind of checking in. The wife looks like a girl, like yes, or checking in. But definitely there are estranged much, uh, like nowhere near where they used to be. I get the sense that a lot of that happened because I feel like being around Little Uzi Vert, I think Little Uzi Vert's one of those boyfriends that like hates your friends. You know what I mean? You ever meet that black guy that's always trying to isolate you away from your friends? Like that's exactly who he is. And I feel like because of all the things that he was doing for her and just the level where he was in his career, I think she felt like that was the best bet for her to do because she kind of felt like wherever Carisha was in her career or the angle that they were going on about it, especially with Saucy Santana being attached to it or whatever the case may be, she kind of felt like they would have had her kept her swimming in the same pool. You know what I mean? Which is not a good thing because at the end of the day, we have a saying in Jamaica that goes, "Mano da pino, call him dead." You know what I mean? Never assume when you see somebody in a certain state in their career or whatever they're going through, or whatever the case may be, that that's where they're gonna be forever. Because you'd be surprised how quickly people can turn things around and opportunities. You know what I mean? Because as for Carisha, I feel like Carisha has been a person she's been able to monopolize on a lot of her opportunities. Yes, her opportunities really sit in the realm of the urban industry, Where when it comes to JT, she feels like being rich and actually having money that you need to get with the white folk. You know what I mean? So I feel like when it comes to JT, especially where she is right now in her life, she is missing Carisha. You know what I mean? I get the sense that she's kind of getting to a space where she's realizing like what she should have stayed where she was at. Like where she's trying to aim for, like it's not hitting the way that she thought it was gonna hit. And I feel like she's kind of getting into a space of some regrets. I also get the sense that she's also looking, she's finally starting to see the negative influence that Uzi Vert has on her because I think she's looking around when it comes to friendships and things like that. And she's slowly starting to see like she doesn't have people around her much anymore. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's like she feels like she's at a space where she starts to make connections and she thinks she's making genuine ones. And it's like he always micromanages like who she could talk to or like who she can have around her. You know what I mean? But I get the sense that a lot of the reason why that Uzi Vert does this is because he doesn't want nobody to not know sense to her. Because like in reality, I get the sense like there's ways and things that he does around her or to her where he's allowed her to like normalize those things where anyone outside of that would be like, okay, what the fuck, you're not in a good situation. So I feel like that's because I feel like when it comes to the industry itself, it's like he can't use that ghettofied, like stay away from the ghettofied uh the ghettofied way of the industry because that trajectory of how the urban scene is being seen is changing. You know what I mean? Because we have to understand that the urban scene is the mainstream at the end of the day. So, and especially what he sees that Carisha is doing now. You know what I mean? Because I think at first it's like, of course, he had to get the friend that has sense out of the way. And I think that he would see little things that she would do and be like, okay, that's not some ghetto show, that's just some whatever. But now he's looking at her like, yo, Krisha actually really is in her bag. Like she knows what the fuck she's actually doing. So like I see him like kind of like looking back and like backpedaling on some of the judgments that he prejudgments that he's had of her. You know what I mean? And I see that JT is kind of looking back at that too, because she's like, I see JT looking at the whole situation when, especially with spend that shit or whatever, that she's like, bro, I know for a fact when it comes to Carisha, like if me and her were still cool or me and her were still close, she would actually be a part of that. Like I would have been a part of that too. You know what I mean? Because she feels like it's like she's doing everything, coming like getting creative with her content, getting creative with her music, getting creative with all the things she's doing. And it's like her shit's just not hitting like Carisha's at all. When in reality, she looked at herself as she was the better part of the duo. Because especially that's what her boyfriend or something was in her head telling her. But when it comes to Carisha, even though like she's not lyrically inclined as much as JT is, Carisha is very likable opposed to how JT is. JT is not as likable as Carisha. You know what I mean? So I do get the sense like I see JT like taking a step back with the stuff that she's doing, but then she's gonna try to make a really bold move. I don't know. I see her and Drake, so I don't know if she's gonna have a song with Drake or whatever. Because I see her and Drake or something, but I see her trying to make a really bold move. It won't hit, but it's not gonna hit as Carisha's old hit. But I guess I feel like by fall or so, going into like the new year, you guys are gonna probably hear some rumblings on them like either hanging out. Yes, exactly. She was the brains, but Carisha was a hustler. You know what I mean? And to be honest, brains is great. Yes, at the end of the day, you can have that. But Carisha, no, Carisha, as much as Carisha's a hustler, Carisha knows how to identify the brains in the room. You see what I'm saying? That's the reason why Carisha has been able to hold it down for her. Carisha knows how to keep things in order even under pressure. That's something that JT didn't have to experience that Carisha did. And that's where she underestimated how valuable she actually was. And to be honest, there was an interview that they said that like whatever they did together just wasn't working. It's like it was like whatever they did together wasn't hitting. You know what I mean? But I get the sense like when it comes to like JT, is like JT just never imagined it would ever be like this. But that's because JT has completely brought herself into a whole different realm that's outside her real comfort zone. So in reality, when it comes to JT, because JT is doing something that is not natural to who she really is in reality. Like, don't get me wrong, artist, every person has a character arc, especially when it comes to your creativity. When you're creative, you always scrap ideas, revamp yourself, whatever the case may be. But JT is literally sitting in a realm where she's not familiar. And I feel like the people around her or the audience that she's trying to present herself to can see through it very easily. Like Carisha don't like everyone likes Carisha about her don't care attitude. There's like she hood, whatever, she's gonna be her, whatever. Like Carisha wants to like JT wants to be the god. Like she wants to act like she's dead. She wants to act like that. Oh, she like like even when she got with like Uzi was like the whole imagery of that was even off. You know what I mean? Because she's really not trying to be herself. Yes, her idol Jackie O hurt her feelings. Yeah, Jackie O was fuck up for that though. Jackie O thought she was like Jackie O really thought she was eating with that, but she was really was not. Like I felt like I was that corny. Like, what do you mean this girl reaches out to her and you block her? Like I completely understand in the sense of like, you know, when it does come to JT does have very outwardly and very openly shows a very demonic nature when it comes to how like it's not just goth. Like there are direct insinuations and things that she says that relates to her, you know, relates like that presents her as being very blasphemous. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to like her boyfriend. She's trying to be like her boyfriend, ex-girlfriend. That aesthetic. JT is trying to push her as a brand. Exactly. And it's being seen. Like I'm telling you, when you try to act like something that you're not, people see it. As much as people act like they don't, they can see it because it's not authentic to you because it's not you. You're literally ripping off of other people like it's like a fucking shirt or pants and trying to emulate that person. You know what I mean? Um, what was something I saw today? I actually saw this today. It's weird and something made me screenshot it. Um, let me see. Where is it? Is it here? No, that's not it. Yeah. Yeah, see, it's this is the quote. You can't copy someone who's creating from a place that you've never been. You know what I'm saying? Like JT was never a part of the goth scene or that alternative like scene. You know what I mean? Which or that or what they used to call the scene girls. This is like in the early like the early 2010s times. You know what I mean? Like scene girls. She is not from that scene. So like it literally like it's like every time you see JT in these situations, she looks like an odd man out. Like she just doesn't look like she fits in. But she feels like she has a ticket of fitting in because she's with a guy that has that aesthetic. You know what I mean? He abuses ex. No, I think that he's abusive. You can just tell Amanda's like little Uzi Vert that's like feminine, and I don't know how much he does fight with his sexuality or whatever the case may be. But like he got a complex with himself. Men like that are gonna always fucking end up fucking with you because they feel weird in some way. They have their inadequacies within themselves or feeling like they need to defend who they are, and 9 times out of 10, they're gonna project those inadequacies they feel in themselves on you. So, like, yeah. But I get the sense that there's gonna be talks of them collaborating. They're gonna try to do something together. It feels like a slow drip. Inner turmoil. Yes. They're gonna project that onto you. And JT needs to, like, I feel like if you are interested in those things, like, yeah, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's not like you can't be introduced to new things and like them. You know what I mean? Even though that's not really or never been your scene. But in reality, I think that she needs to try to find her way of how she makes this stuff like her own. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the reason why it's not hitting the way it's supposed, like the hitting the way she wants it to. Because there's something about it, like like it's just not authentic. Yeah, be true to yourself. Because she's not. She's not like be true to yourself. Like I feel like when it comes to people, especially when you're even presenting yourself, like be vulnerable, even down to the bare bones of who you are, because you never know who can actually relate to that. You know what I mean? Instead of feeling like you need to be like somebody else, because you feel like that's what people are more attracted to. Like, be yourself. Like, what's your own experience? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, for example, when it comes to Azealia Banks and Azealia Banks coming to the scene, especially when she had her album, Broke with Expensive Taste. You know what I mean? She made it very clear in her climb up, in her brand, that like, she's just this back of corner girl from fucking Harlem that loved fashion, that loved all like loved seeing stuff, whatever the case may be. Now that she's this artist, she's making her money, she's made some moves that she can slowly be able to afford these things and be in rooms that she wasn't before. Like I feel like when it comes to JT, it's like in a way, it's like JT is literally trying to almost erase like her come up. You know what I mean? And just be like, yeah, I'm this girl. And that's not really you. I think it's like it would be much more marketable if, and I'm not saying like just conversation, but just even being more vulnerable in like just the whole transition of it all. You know what I mean? I'm sure like, you could take from people that you admire. You know what I mean? Which is cool. Everyone does that. But emulating something you're not, like it just looks stupid. It like she like even the outfit she's wearing and stuff like that, like it looks like a costume. It doesn't look like a style. You know what I'm saying? Did anyone get what I mean? But like for me, like from my observation, not just as a psychic, but even not like as a PR, like it's just like it doesn't look like you're trying things new. It looks like a costume. Like, cause we have to think about like, for example, like artists like Lil Kim. Like Little Kim, yes. Like Little Kim, for example, anybody know Little Kim? Remember, Little Kim was a like Little Kim obviously came from being where she was, like, being a hood girl from New York or whatever the case would be. But in a time when hip hop and stuff wasn't that popular, Little Kim was up in rooms. Like Little Kim was at fashion shows. Little Kim was draped up with Versace, having relationships with Versace and all these big designers. You know what I mean? But that's because of her rawness and who she was and being authentic to, like, is what attracted those people from wanting to work with her and be around her. Like, you know what I mean? It was like you would see a person like Little Kim being like this New York hood, like raunchy X-rated rapper sitting up chilling with Courtney Love. You know what I'm saying? And like it looked cool, it looked punk, and like, but she didn't like tip her crown. She was herself. You know what I mean? She was the blueprint. Beyonce stole her name and Nicki stole her persona. Exactly. But she was herself. She was in room. Like she was the one that put her first foot in the room so that people like the Beyoncés and Nicki's, the Cardi B's, the JT's can actually be respected in those places. Because we're talking like high class fucking upper echelon nose in the air Europeans, bro. Like if you've been to Europe, like Europe is one of those places like it's classism and racism and it's in your face. You know what I mean? Like they're not shy about it. Like even though like okay, you have in America or North America people that will like make slurs and stuff, like you will know that you are not of a certain class. And they make it very clean. The lines are very sharp when it comes to like that industry. And imagine it being in fashion. And we're talking this is like the 90s. Because I remember I'm an 85 baby. So like when hip hop started to be more mainstream, that started happening in the late mid 90s, the mid 90s to the late 90s. That like before them me being in school and I'm listening to hip hop, we were looking at me like, what's that? What's that banter? You know what I mean? When it became mainstream, and she was in rooms with these people. You know what I mean? Because Versace, I know she was good with friends with Versace. They got Armani, all those designers at the time. Dolce and Gabbana. You know what I mean? JT needs to take a page when it comes to that. I don't think she sits with that. I think that she forgets that piece because she knows she has a key through her boyfriend. But like her boyfriend has built up his rapport. And she's kind of like piggybacking on it, but it's not hitting right because it's like she hasn't found her own lane within it. Yeah, Aaliyah and Kadala brought Kim into that high fashion world. Exactly. Is she truly happy in a relationship? She loves him very much. I would say she's not fully happy, but I think she has a lot of hope because she thinks that he can change. There's obviously something that's going on. It could be drug use. That she feels like that's the only thing that is in between them being the couple that they can be or having the healthy relationship they can have, maybe especially when it comes to how he treats her. Um, but yeah, she has a lot of hope still for the relationship because she wants to get married. She feels like that's her husband. But I get a number two, so I don't know if it's February or within 2 years. Like if he don't shape up her act, she won't leave him. She gonna find a trick to leave him. It's gonna come after loss though. After her feeling like, or coming to a point where she's at her rock bottom of what she feels like she's lost being in this relationship, where she's just like, okay, it's time for you to go. Men can really steer you to listen. As I say, even though as a woman that's in a relationship, I have to say this, like I like being my own individual person and I advise every woman that when you're in a relationship, be your own island. You should have two islands that merge as one. Okay? Like you see, like Haiti and Dominican Republic, that's how you should be. Haiti is its own island, different language, you know what I mean? Has different food, has a different wave, different beaches. You know what I'm saying? And then you see Dominican Republic, they have their own style, different language, but they're all landlocked together. That's what a true relationship should be. You should be able to be your own person within the relationship because that's what really brings you guys together. You guys are two different people. They say, oh, coming as one. Yes, okay, coming as one. But you have to be two different people as one. You know? That's how I feel. Like, that's what I really, really feel. And that's how it should work. You know what I mean? Of course, you want to be able to respect your partner at the end of the day, as when it comes to certain things or whatever. But I feel like a woman's number one thing, because this has been ingrained in us from generations to generations to generations, that we think that when we get with somebody that we have to we gotta lose ourselves, we gotta give up ourselves and what we knew as women being single to be with a man and accommodate what that man wants. You know what I mean? But that's why a lot of bitches end up losing themselves. Like this one. Like her. Hold on. Give me a second. Chill. But people, well, some women end up losing themselves. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I advise her that. I feel like JT, honestly, she gonna find her way back to her homegirl. But at the same time, like they're different people. They're in like a different wave now. So it won't be exactly the same. But I feel like the respect will still be there. And I do definitely feel like there's going to be like an authentic apology across the board, so to speak. But I feel like when it comes to Carisha's very understanding. Carisha already she clocks T and she sees what it is. So I feel like once upon a time she did have a lot against her and kind of still does, so to speak. But like she knows that she's too far gone for her to actually like really take in what she should take in. It's one of those situations where it's like you just gotta let somebody be and make them see it for themselves. Like I can't convince you of something that you don't see, because at the same time, it's hard for me to tell you that because I'm not the person that's in love with them. So you gotta go through your journey, see what you gotta see, and whenever you figure it out, get at me, girl. Like that's the energy. But I see some collaboration of some sort coming up. Yeah, Creation doesn't hold grudges, but Creation's an Aquarius. I know some of the Aquarius women, Aquarius in general, they don't hold grudges really. That's it, like that, because yeah, Aquariuses don't hold grudges. They don't. And Aquarius, if they're your friend, they're your friend. Like I mean, friend to the end. Like I feel like if it comes to any sign, that when it comes to the friendship sign is Aquarius. Any person I know that's been an Aquarius, like I'm talking friend to the end. Like friend to the fucking end. Is Saucy said Tedda's rant on her. He said her music doesn't have any replay value, which is so true. It doesn't. It doesn't. And see, the thing is, when it comes to Carisha's mastered that. Because yo, when you first hear spend that shit, you don't like it at first. When I first heard that song, I was like, "What the fuck is this song?" I'm like, "This song sucks, bro." I'm like, "It's so annoying," and then I kept hearing it. And then after I was like, yo, like, on a scamming ass. And bro, like it just got into my brain. Like Carisha's mastered that. Because Carisha's one of those people. Carisha's the kind of person that will meet, like, will sit down with like Juicy J, for example. Juicy J from 6 Mile. 3 6 Mafia. Okay? Because remember, if we think about a lot of 3 6 Mafia songs, 3 6 Mafia songs are like that. You first hear it, you're like, what the fuck is this shit? Then it gets into your head. Then you start rocking to it. You know what I mean? Like I said, like a guy like Juicy J. She'll sit down with Juicy J and like literally like pick his brain. You know what I'm saying? Santana too, exactly, just dropped another banger. They know what to do. But if you notice anything, music from the South is like that. Why do you think, if you think about it, if you think about it, when the South takeover happened, like it stuck and it runs a lot because a lot of music from the South have that ring to it. Like it's almost like theme songs, so to speak. You know what I mean? They're very catchy. They're catchy, and it gets into your head, and you sing it over and over and over again. When you come to like East Coast rap, West Coast rap, or any of those musics, it's always lyricism. You know what I mean? No, East Coast is more like the beats and the lyricism. West Coast can come off like that too. But also, I find like West Coast music is very reppy. Like where you from, how you resonate with it, where you're from. You know what I mean? But with the South music always catches you. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find the word for it. It's not coming to me right now. But they always have like it always has a repetition to it in some way. You know what I mean? That it sticks in your head. That's why the way they make music, it has replay value. Because ask me right now, think of any song. Okay, think of any song right now that when you think of Little Uzi Vert that just jumps in your head that you just want to keep singing over and over again. I can think of one right now, but like one song that's like that when you say that has like replay value. Yeah, it's crunchy and fun. With JC's music, I don't find myself replaying it at all. No, at all. And none of her music really moves me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, JT is sick on a feature. I could give her that. Whenever she gets on a feature, she does good on features. I can think of Little Uzi Vert. You think of Ted? I don't really know I don't know his music like that. I know some, but not a lot. But the first song I ever heard of him that I sounded like it was "Push You to the Edge." My friends are dead. Push You to the Edge. Oh, sorry. Yes. See, that was the next one. But she doesn't have a lot of songs that are like that. But you can just tell about like who she's being inspired by. But I feel like Carisha literally, because I think Carisha knew. I think when it came to like obviously when she's looking at her career and her music or whatever, I think Carisha started to realize like, okay, I know I'm not that great of a lyricist. Like I know that's not my strong suit. Like I'm not the best rapper. So I gotta find a way how I can get people to listen to my music and my music's banging. And I think that's what birthed Spend That. You know what I mean? I like Sideways for GT. She keeps it simple because she has to. She knows she's not that like lyrically inclined. He was on the Bad and Bougie song. Ask me if I actually really remember his part. I don't. And he was on Bad and Bougie. I know. I don't know, man. Let's see. So, any more questions about JT and Carisha before we move into the next reading? I think you're gonna hear them get into an argument again. There's gonna be some, yeah. Is it? Oh, wait. Do I look like I was in home better bush? What? Yo, man, Takeoff has no business being dead, man. Takeoff has no damn business being dead. Like every time, like, yeah, like I think of him or he comes up, I'm like, I can't believe he died. Like Takeoff has no business being dead. Lori, get a second. Ah, oh, hold on, my candle went out. Let me go read like that. I was hoping that wasn't gonna happen. I know. Rest in peace. Takeoff. Hold on. He was a sweet. I know, and he was underrated in a way because he was quiet and he was kicked back. But Takeoff was sick with it though. He was. People underestimated how sick Takeoff really was. So, yeah. Any questions about City Girls, JT, Young Miami? Yeah, some news is gonna come out about them. Something's coming out soon about them. I don't know if it's them directly or around them, but somebody needs to worry about injuries. Like an injury. I don't know if it's a car crash or something or an injury coming up. I also see that too. Yeah. All right. So let's move into the next reading. We're gonna be reading, and we have a channel message coming in from the seven African spirits. Okay. So seven African spirits. So I don't know if you guys or any of you guys, or I think majority of people in the room are familiar with the Orishas, or the actual seven African spirits when it comes to the saints that are correlated or synchronized with the Orishas. So the main seven orishas that people most commonly know, I have to count: Alegua, Obatala, Yemiya, Ashun, Shango, Ogun, and who's going to be in the top seven? Who else will be there? I think Oya's there too. I'm not 100% sure. But those are the basic seven African spirits of their known as spirituality, okay? Um, as some could say also in the Bible that God sent down seven of his energies that work in unison to actually help mankind. Some could say it's the Orishas, some say it's the saints, okay? The reason why I was sitting there in meditation, because I knew I had to do a channel message today, and why the message of them came through, is because I feel like even though we're in the seventh month of the year, it's when it comes to all the collective energies that have happened this year, it's like all of them are now all congregating in the center, right? Which they're this is where they find their mid year. You know what I mean? When it comes to the elements and the essence of every Arisha or African spirit, they rule over all different things. Okay. When it comes to Arishas, usually when we like people that practice Ifa, Kandole, Santeria, whatever the case may be, most of the Arishas have a theme of the year and the essence that actually rules over this year. So the essence, main essence of what's coming in or was here for this year was Oya. It was Oya in conjunction with Achosi and a gun. Okay. So Oya has to do with also with change and endings, okay, or really revealing things that are in the shadow. You have Achosi, which he can also be seen as divine justice, the hunter, the diviner in ways, or spiritual police. And then we have a gun, which he is law, war. Um, he is the god of iron and the god of war. Okay. So the essence of these actual orishas, whatever, even though their themes could congregate over the whole year, they also congregate in seasons or in certain months, right? So as you know, when it comes to Oya, Oya has the ability to actually go into all of the orishas. Why that is because she is the emblem of the dead and of the ancestors, so of all those that have come before her, and transformation and shape shifting, right? So as you can see, as we're coming out of June, there was a lot of endings and change that started to happen, and now we're moving into July. And then starting the July and the rest of the year, she is bringing the essence of every Arisha with her. Okay, the message that is coming through with the Arishas is it comes through a message when it comes to people honoring them. Okay, for example, I've been working with Saint Expedite for years. You know what I mean? And usually a typical offering for him is to actually like spread his name or whatever the case may be. Like a lot of the times when it comes to the spirits I work with, I'm not always looking for an exchange, as in, oh yeah, you do this for me, I'm doing that for you. I work with them long enough that I just appreciate, and it's really good to actually build a good relationship with your spirits personally. You know what I mean? It's like building a relationship with God. If you don't have a relationship with God, how can God have weight in your life? The same thing goes when it comes to the seven African spirits or whatever saints that you work with. Okay, it's very big on honoring them. And I think what I'm seeing, and also that I'm getting the sense, especially when it comes to the Alishas that are coming through, is a lot of people are opening doors, okay, to negativity and opening doors to different things in their life and aligning them to these Arishas as to why they're happening. And that's not exactly the case. People have to understand that there's certain ways that you have to actually properly actually honor these arishas. For example, for me, if I want to work with my arishas or whatever the case may be, it's not just offerings. I do rites for them. You know what I mean? Rites may be is okay. Back home, somebody will actually do a sacrifice or whatever the case may be to that saint in particular that you want to work with. You know what I mean? You have to understand as well that when it comes to the Arishas only work and manifest in your life based on the vibration and the emblem of who you are as a person because they ride on your crown. So they all only manifest in your life based on your level of access and authorization that you have with them. Okay. And I really see that. I feel like, for example, even especially like when it comes to Adarisha, like Alekwa. Alekwa is a very finicky spirit. Okay. And he's very particular about things that align with him. And you need a legua to do everything. You know, you're supposed to actually go to him first before you go to any other arisha and ask for anything. So the biggest thing that they are coming in with and why they're saying this is because everything that has been taking place for the last 3 years, when it comes to stagnation, where it comes to repetition of karmic cycles or whatever the case may be, anything that you find yourself in the last 3 years that you've constantly having to go to the altar for, that there's about to be an upheaval and a change when it comes within that. What I'm actually seeing is that I'm seeing the arishas and I'm seeing them in alignment, but I'm seeing them in the wave of Oya's scarf and her skirt. So meaning like she's whisking things away, but she's going all the way through all the arishas while she's doing it. And I feel like it's going to be happening now until the second week of August. Okay. The reason why I feel like she's bringing this message to for whoever that it actually is important to is that if you need to do your rites or there's things that you need to do for your arishas, especially when it comes to offerings, make sure you have that paid up very well. Okay, we have to understand with spirituality, everything is a give and take. In spirituality, I promise you, you do not want to take anything or do anything for free. Okay. For example, I even have friends, okay, that I love and I care for and I want to light a candle for. I had to learn the hard way that I should have been taking an offering of some sort, even if it's $2. You know what I mean? I take an offer because what ends up happening is that I'm using my essence, my money, my energy, my debt to actually manifest something for a person. And in the end of the day, the fallback of that situation, depending what it is, will always come from my basket. It's not going to come from the basket of the person that I am doing it for. That's why it's the same thing when it comes to spirituality. If you are spending your money when it comes to people, doing work for you, be very intentional. Don't ever take anything for free. Because if you take anything from a spirit and get a spirit to actually do something for you, and you didn't actually pay any rights or put out any offers of any sort to the person that was doing it for you, that gives that person or spirit or team around them free range to take whatever they want that belongs to them or they feel like they're going to take in exchange because you actually did not pay up in advance. Okay. So I'm hearing Arisha's really say, this is not a time to be stingy and you have to come out of stinginess. If you actually want to see movement in your life, pay the piper. You need to, and that is Ashe. The piper even being a legua. Make sure your offerings are going to him. Make sure whoever is the intercessor or the person that you're going to is paid in any way. If they decide to be generous with you, even if it's $1, pay $1. Even if it's $5, pay $5. Because you can never look at the work that somebody has done to you, especially if it's something to change your life, change your current situation, or get you out of a situation, and they are doing it for free. Listen, that there's a price because if you cannot give that person back something in exchange in any way, there's no reason that you should be asking them for anything for free because that's the reason why what ends up happening where I've seen a lot of people end up happening is that they end up being in spiritual debt. For example, I have this client and she was going to she has a spiritual lady she goes to, right? Because our religions are a little bit different. So of course she comes to me for stuff, but like when it comes to certain things in her realm of her religion, I'm like, you might have to outsource that because I'm not fully educated in that realm of stuff. You know what I mean? She, we were doing work. She wanted something, right? And we were doing work for her. Her candles kept on going dark. You know what I mean? Like coming up really dark, whatever the case may be. She's like, what's going on? I go, listen, let's sit with it. It's gonna come to me. Because usually when it comes to these situations, when I see something like that, I don't jump to conclusions like, what is that? I'm like, I sit and I wait until spirit gathers all the information, then comes to me and tells me what's going on. So the one thing I said to her was, I'm like, you have to understand. I don't know why, because I was channeling. Because at this point, I'm like, I'm not using my logic. I'm just channeling. I'm like, you have to understand that your money comes from God. The money, like, there's people that have riches in life. It could come from Anarisha. It could come from Aloha. It could come from wherever. You never know where your money comes from, the energy in it. But your money in specific comes from God. Okay? Fast forward, I got on a call, and I got on a call with her again, and I'm talking to her, and we're talking about this lady she goes to. I go, let me ask you something. I go, have you ever given her money, like cash? She's like, yes. I go, she goes, yeah. I actually gave her money because she said she had this and this and this going on, and whatever the case may be, and I felt bad, so I gave her some money. I'm like, okay. I go, were you very, I'm like, clearly you were obviously not intentional when you gave it to her. She goes, yeah, like I wasn't, like she asked for it, I gave it to her. So I was like, okay. I go, that's it. I go, all right. So now I go to her, I'm like, okay, this is what you're going to have to do. But the diagnosis of the situation that ended up happening is that she gave that woman that money, and that woman put the money on an altar that was not of God. You know what I mean? She was actually, yeah, she actually dabbles into this and this and this and this, and she herself denounces Jesus Christ and doesn't believe in God like that, or whatever the case may be. I go, there you go. You handed her your money, okay, which your money comes from God, right? She does not operate, and how she gets her money is in the realm of God. And now that you've offered her that money, it's blocked your finances because she's now using the energy from your money, right? From the essence of how you get your money to try to, for whatever reason, for whatever that spirit is using that energy for, or what that offering was used for. And she goes, shut up. I'm like, yes. I go, this is why not only you have to be particular with what spaces the people that you work with are grounded in, be very intentional when it comes to your offerings. You know what I mean? Um, and I feel like that's like literally that's the exchange. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that I don't feel like Ashe, man. This situation is not only happening in the realm of purchasing things or paying for things. It's also coming in the realm of relationships. If you've noticed anything about people in people's lives, and especially what I get commonly, it's like nobody's give and take is matching up. You know what I mean? There is an imbalance happening with give and take. And I feel like we're starting to get into a society now that people feel like their get ahead comes with getting the most out of somebody for doing so little. You know what I mean? And I don't think that people realize that in that moment, like it does feel great to feel like you're getting all this and doing so little, but there's always a price to pay. You know what I mean? Like me personally, I don't like to make myself indebted with people at all. Like for me, even if I don't give you back the same thing for exactly what I've gotten from you, I make sure that what I have to offer will always clear my debt so that I'm not spiritually in debt with people, especially if we have to part different ways or do different things. You know what I mean? So I'm just seeing this for example, especially not just working with the spirits, but just in people in general. Take a look at some of the people or the situations in your life, whether you're giving too much or taking too much, and find that even medium of where you could create balance. Okay. The reason why that is, and why this is actually becoming emphasized right now to look at, because it has to do with your harvest, reaping what you sow, right? So For example, if you have your harvest, if you have you watered your plants lately? Have you been giving them fertilizer? Have you been giving them their food? Have you been doing what is necessary to make sure that when it's time for season for your crops to be ready to pick, that you've done all the right things that you will have a fruitful harvest? That is what the Orishas and the seven African spirits are saying. Now we want to go into the element of each thing, right? Yami has the rivers, is how flow. What have you been doing? What have you been contributing to your life or taking in your life that is allowing things to flow easily in your life? Ashe. Now we're talking about a gun. Where in aspects of your life or in situations have you been actually fair? Ashe. When it comes to a chosi, what are things that you've overlooked that you missed on your way on your journey? Ashe. When it comes to Alekwa, okay, what doors have you closed so that you can step into a new beginning, and what doors have you opened? Ashe. When it comes to Yemiya, have you worked on your mother wounds? Have you worked on your inner child? You know what I mean? What are your relationships looking like? Whether it be friendships, whether it actually be relationships, or what are your views on relationships, and how you're working through those things? Ashe. When it comes to Obatala, which is purity, are you keeping yourself spiritually cleansed? Are you keeping yourself spiritually clean? Are you keeping your home clean? Are you keeping your actions clean? Are you keeping your hands clean? If you look at all the examples of the Arishas, okay, Shango, power, fairness, justice. What else we can say about confidence? Have you been bold? You know what I mean? For the things that you want out of life and what you've been trying to do, have you actually taken courage and taking the step forward and actually making it happen? So those are the emblems. And see, as you can see, like you see, Oya's skirt, she carries all the colors. But Oya is a representation of new beginnings and change. So she is pulling out her skirt and presenting all aspects of the Orishas or the seven African spirits. And she's allowing you to go through all of them so that you actually take a mirror and look at yourself and say, okay, all right, have you checked your list? Good. Now we're moving into a new season. Because going into this September, because we're going into, remember, we got to think about this. Ashe, we're going into the Saturn retrograde. So going into the Saturn retrograde, depending on what you've been doing, where you've been pouring your seeds, or where you've been reaping them, is how it depends on how your season in the retrograde is going to go, right? But I do see a huge amount of change, especially when it comes to reaping season, when it comes to September, this last quarter. Okay. That's another thing that they're saying. Yeah. Don't be afraid to pour into people with good intentions. We have to understand, like, especially me being spiritual, like I don't just work with my spirits, I sit with spirits and I allow them to educate me. You know what I mean? I take counsel from others and those that know more than I do. You know what I mean? Um, and it's really broken down to a system when you really look at it. As much as we think that some things can't be predictable, they can be if you like every rule, like you follow the rule book to a T, you'll see the results you're supposed to see. Because everything, the rules are the rules that they are because and they make sense for a reason. You know what I mean? And that's just equilibrium at the end of the day. And there's a system. You know what I mean? It's like you know how they always say like being a generous person or giving God always blesses you out back. It's very true. You know what I mean? It's like there's a give and take, not just in like what you do for people or what you get for people, but even like just even what you project in your life or the choices you make in your own life. Like You gotta pay attention when you're sowing bad seeds or when you're sowing good ones. You know what I mean? And taking accountability of that, because that the reason why you gotta take accountability, because that determines your harvest. And I think that if people actually looked at it from that perspective more often, people would take more accountability and be more mindful of the seeds that they've been planting, and not be so surprised when shit hits the fan. And be like, why me? What seeds have you been planting? Some could be intentional, some could be not. Like me, I had a plant. I have plants, for example, that were constantly fucking dying. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I guess I don't got the green thumb. When in reality, I realized that I was just overwatering it. And because I was overwatering it, things got sour quick. So that's it. That's the messages and the channel message from the seven African spirits. Any questions? Any questions? Oh, I forgot I had water. You're welcome. Always make sure you're planted. And that message came right through me. Cause like as I'm talking, I'm gonna watch the playback because I there were some parts that I said I was like, damn, yeah. Be mindful of the seeds that you're planting. Okay, for example, I want to. You want to start this great idea that you have. What have you done? Have you planned it out? Have you start the first phase of it? Did you get information? Did you go to the library? Did you try to? Those are seeds. Then you're like, oh, like damn, like I want to do this and nothing happened. But it's just like, okay, but how many seeds did you plant? In what season did you plant them? And what brought forth the harvest? Well, why I didn't get to do it because I was like going through this and this and this and this, and I was like, okay. Well, that's what you planted. You planted seeds in the things that were distracting you, and now your harvest is that you have delays because you put your energy in the wrong place. You know what I mean? So, thank you for that, Leah. Thank you for that, spirits. Ashe. All right, so we're gonna move into the final reading of the night. Well, it's already 10 to 2. Final reading of the night. So I want to start off with saying, Vamos La Rojas! Spain won the World Cup. Now, I know that I was doing a reading on the World Cup, and I was pretty certain that Portugal was going to win. And that was because of the close. I'm not making an excuse, but I'm just going to say. But that was the closest that I felt to whoever was going to win the World Cups, not realizing that, like, Spain is actually, like, my second home. I have a fucking tattoo of Barcelona's tiles on my fucking feet. And they are red just as much as Portugal, and it's right by Portugal. But at the same time, I really, really wanted Cristiano Ronaldo to win. But in reality, Ronaldo did win the World Cup, and I'll tell you why in just a sec. But vamos La Rojas. Yes, I'm Viva España. I'm so happy that they won the World Cup. I think this is a great start to a lot of these new players and the new generation's career. As you notice, going back to what I said about the Alishas, when it comes to closing the old and opening a new. If you notice, when it came to this World Cup was around a lot of um, centered around a lot of the old guys, the goats, the greatest of all times, and it especially being their last World Cup or their last presentation on stage to prove that they're the best. But in the end, what ended up happening is that it was the new school or the new generation that was able to actually take the actual trophy home. And I feel like it had a really strong message, not just behind um, ending eras, but also showing like and watching the torch being handed over to the new generation. You know what I mean? What I love about the new kids that are actually in the forefront, that are actually being recognized in the football world, is that these kids have a fond respect of their elders. And even when you even saw what was happening with Cristiano Ronaldo and his team, you got to see both sides of the spectrum. Those that actually respect the legends or the guru that comes before him, or those that don't respect it and don't actually follow the rule book and take from other people to actually learn what to do next. And I feel like a huge part of that happened with Portugal. And I think it's a valuable lesson to them actually see like just because you think you're good doesn't mean even even though you are a contribution to the change of what could come for football doesn't mean you do not respect where football has come from. And I loved that message. I don't know why I feel like this World Cup was one of the most powerful World Cups that I've ever experienced. But I wanted to tap into uh, Cristiano Ronaldo because I've never really read on him before. I want to tap into Lamin Yamal, which he is the new sensation and superstar coming out of España. And I also want to touch on Leo Messi, which, you know, he's from Argentina and is been disputed for years, depending on who you talk to, who's the best. Is it Messi or is it Ronaldo? So let's get into it. So we're going to tap into Lamine Yamal first. See, Lamine is I like this kid because I feel like he's really confident in himself and he's very big on skill. I'm not gonna lie that he might have a little stint in like coming off of the World Cup. Like first of all, like he won with Champione, they won the champions. He won with his league. He worked the championship, and now World Cup. You know what I mean? So he's been on like a winning streak lately, and I get the sense that I feel like I'm not thinking that it's like one of those things that he thinks is gonna get to his like is getting to his head. But I think that he might get a little too comfortable and it doesn't feel like it's right away. Like it doesn't feel like it's for a long period. It feels like the first quarter of the season after the win that he might get a little too comfortable with the winning aspect and not realize that people are actually starting to pay attention and catch up to his game. You know what I mean? So I get the sense that he needs to watch himself with that. I do see a lot of deals coming in. I see three distinctive ones. One of them has to do with a car that is coming up, but I see that happening. I also see him a purchasing of a house. But I feel like this, I know he has something for his mom, but something for his parents. You know what I mean? But I get the sense too, I see re education with him as well. So I don't know if he's going to go back to school or whatever the case may be, but I see him like I see him going. I almost feel like he's stepping forward into like being a man, but then kind of pedaling back, as in a sense, like I don't know if it's coming from his mother or his family, like where it's like, yes, you have this money, you have all this fame, whatever the case may be, but keep in mind that you're still young, soak up all the moments, soak up all the opportunities, and make sure you get all the opportunities you get. But I definitely see that. I get this sense when it comes to next year or so. I don't know. I feel like it's around March or April. If he's not careful, like he can have an injury that will put him out for a bit. But I definitely feel like he's going to be able to carry this career for a while. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that he's gonna be like. I don't think he's gonna be playing as long as like Messi and Ronaldo. I think he might have like a Neymar length of career, so to speak. But I definitely feel it's weird because I get a sense of Cristiano Ronaldo looking at him at the corner of his eye. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I see him like he sees so much potential in him and he wants to guide him. But I feel like there's a bit of a bias there because it's like his son is about to start coming into the scene soon. And it's like he can't put so much into Yamal when he has to be putting that into his son. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's an admiration for him. There's a part of him that he sees of him that it's like this kid's a good kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the energy I get. I get even to like his. I feel like his wife kind of is fond of him as well. You know what I mean? 'Cause I know his wife is half Argentinian and half Spanish, so I don't know how that was for her when they were playing. But she was raised in Spain. But I definitely feel like a lot of counsel pouring in. I see a lot of people pouring into this kid. And what I see about this kid that's so beautiful is that he's actually really receptive to it. Like, I see him really being like, okay, I'm taking this all in. I think it's like also I think he's used to carrying I think he's used to carrying having to carry everybody else on his back. So I feel like he feels like he has an obligation, a responsibility to actually carry the torch of his legacy. But I almost feel like it's him and Holland that both feel like they have to carry the torch of the legacy. You know what I mean? So I see that as well. But I feel like he has a lot of good things that are coming up. I feel like there's gonna be some controversy coming up. Like there's gonna be something coming up. I got number 4 that's gonna try to come in and stain his name. But I feel like he's gonna have a lot of protection around him because I feel like there's a lot of people that are really protecting him because they definitely want to push his career and actually see him go forward. So that's what I see with Lamine Yamal. Go on the energy. Okay, so let's get into Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, Cristiano Ronaldo, I feel like he's actually in a really good space. Why I feel like he's in a good space? Because I think he's so happy that everybody got to see the truth of what was going on behind the scenes without him saying it. And everybody was able to see that he was being deliberately sabotaged, not just by his team, but FIFA himself. And I think that he feels really happy because I think like that's the first time in his career that he's ever felt like he's got injustice where people have spoken up for him in such a clear and concise way. Like you definitely have people that are like argue if he's the gold or if he's the best. But I think he got to see how much people got to Drake. I know Drake is one of them too that sabotage his ass. Blame Drake, that bitch. I saw. I'm like, why are you touching this guy? But as much as like I remember, I was going back to the African guy. The African guy was saying that Prince. See, Prince is mad. Prince don't like Drake, child. Prince would like Drake. Like, anyways, just joking. No, he's funny. What glory for food. Um, I definitely feel like he feels like especially like you know what it's one of those things where you know people love you, but you realize how much people love you until like you see the outpouring of respect and honor that you get. I feel like this is the first time in his career that people mark the goal because at the end of the day, it goes back to Messi. There's always been the argument between Messi and Ronaldo about who really is the GOAT. And literally, if Messi were to win the World Cup, that would be an undisputed argument in some way. But a lot of things that were pouring out that people got to see about Messi is how supported he actually is by these leagues and these referees. And when it comes to Ronaldo, Ronaldo didn't just have skill. Like Messi's amazing. He has skill. He's really good at dribbling. He's good with all of that. You know what I mean? But he's always been in his comfort zone. You know what I mean? Like he's only played for 2 leagues. He played for La Liga. Now he's in MLS. You know what I mean? When it comes to Ronaldo, Ronaldo has played in many leagues. He's played in Like he played for Juventus, Saudi League. He was in La Liga. He played for Champions League. You know what I mean? He's been able to show his versatility of what he can actually do. Where Messi hasn't. So Messi's been able to be a person that's been on the stage and had the spotlight on him, but it's like it's only shining into him on one corner. When it comes to Ronaldo, like people haven't got to see like people don't people try it's like you can't compete where you can't compare. You know what I mean? And I feel like when I say that Ronaldo won World Cup because he was able to, even though he did not win World Cup and he didn't even make it to the semifinals, he was still able to walk out of that bitch with the crown on his head and seen as the GOAT. And people that had valuable facts outwardly that were viral that were defending those claims and comparing them, and people were able to actually see what's been going on all his life and in his career, especially when it comes in comparison to Messi. So when it really look at it at the end of the day, did he really win the World Cup? He did, because he was able to walk out of that World Cup that even though he was a loser, he was still a winner. And why that is because he got the justice that he deserved and needed and should have gotten his whole entire career. So I'm really happy for Cristiano Ronaldo. I get the sense that I do see coaching coming up for him. I don't know if it's actually going to be like permanent coaching, but I definitely do see like him being involved with some kind of project that has to do with coaching or mentoring, because I definitely feel like after him watching the World Cup and watching these young guys come up, he started really watching these kids and he's like, bro, like there's certain things that these kids are not doing, or like this is what I was taught. How come you're not doing this? Like, you know what I mean? So I definitely feel like he's gonna lend a hand in that. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to even lend a hand, even when it comes to like the female leagues and stuff like that. As you know, I feel like he's gonna be making more smarter business decisions and stuff. I don't know why. I see something with aviation too. I don't know. I saw a helicopter. I'm not sure what that means. Um, but I do feel like there's a possibility too that coming up that there could be another baby that comes along the line. I do see him doing a collaboration with his wife though. I don't know why I see something like that. Like they may collab on something. You know what I mean? Together. And I definitely see the wedding coming up. They're gonna keep that cute and small and intimate. I don't know if they're gonna let a lot of people into that. That I do see coming up. But I do get the sense that he might actually end up in the next World Cup next year. You know what I mean? I feel like that's definitely going to be a thing. I don't know why this flight's coming out of nowhere. I don't know what kind of monitoring spirits watching me at this time of night. Go find something better to do. It's time for you to go to bed. Okay? It's late. What are you watching me for? Anyways, but I definitely feel like there's going to be some words in exchange of controversy coming up, but I see a lot of praise coming towards Ronaldo though. Like I feel like the praise is gonna continue because I just feel like I just see him like gloating and like there's this light coming his way and he's just feeling it and just soaking it all up. Like you know what I mean? Like sometimes your wins that you think it's like you may want something your way, but God's way is the best way because it's even bigger. Like in the end, even though he's gonna definitely still go for the World Cup trophy, he's gonna feel like this season is even bigger than the trophy itself because it made him see like some of that fighting for that title of having the name of the GOAT that he had to fight for years because his fight was always to prove people wrong, prove people wrong, that he's gonna realize like, whoa, like I've been working so hard all these years to prove this fact. And now this is what it looks like being at the tip of the mountain. You know what I mean? So I definitely see that coming up. A lot of beauty in that. I think that he has another interview coming up that he's going to be very vulnerable when it comes to that as well. But a lot of beautiful things. I just see a smile on his face, a smile. But I also feel like too, like there is going to be a bit of sadness. I think that it's going to be a family member. I wonder if it's his mom that's going to end up having some health issues. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's something coming down. But overall, it's like he finally feels like his feet are cemented. I see his feet is like I see a pitch. I feel like his feet are cemented, but it's like they're ingrained with gold. So it's almost like he feels like Like it's not even just feel. He's finally everything that he's worked for, prayed for, manifested, the seeds that he's planted all these years are now actually sprouting into something. And he's just like, if like it's like his whole career was built up to this point. You know what I mean? And it was a trophy bigger than he even thought, bigger than he ever thought he could imagine, bigger than World Cup. So that's what I see about Cristiano Ronaldo. So let's go into Messi. See, with Messi, there's always been talks of Messi possibly being autistic. And I wouldn't be surprised that he actually is, because but like I see things about his mannerisms and things like that. But when it comes to Messi, like he is as good as he is when it comes to football, soccer, wherever we want to call it, for the reasons being because he's mastered the sport on a genius level of understanding the sport. You know what I mean? And I get it, it goes back, and I think that's why probably why they do protect him in a lot of ways, because for all you know, they probably do understand or feel or see that he is neurodivergent in some way. But he's very like socially awkward in a sense of like he, of course, most neurodivergent people like or p- people on the spectrum, like they like to sit in spaces and energy frequencies that are comfortable to them. So I wouldn't be surprised that's the reason why that he hasn't gone to other clubs, and not to mention when it comes to other clubs too. Depending on what the club is, then you would have to be open to knowing new languages. Like for example, like I didn't know after all these years that Messi doesn't even speak English. Like he only knows how to speak Spanish. Cristiano Ronaldo speaks four different languages. He speaks Portuguese, speaks Italian, speaks Spanish, and he speaks English. And he's learned all those languages based on all the clubs that he's ever been with. That he had to learn the language. You know what I mean? And I think that depending on how fast he is when it comes to learning on an academic level is probably why he stayed put. But I definitely feel like he's really sad. Not only because of I don't think the goat thing is really a big thing for him. I think that he had an end goal, and I think it was an end goal for the nation, just because of what's happening right now in Argentina. If you guys actually know anything of what's going on with Argentina right now, that their dollar, their I think it's called GDP, is very low right now. Like I think they're saying like it's like crazy low. Like I think like $1 is like 5,000, some crazy shit like that. There's a lot of things that are going on right now in Argentina when it comes to when it comes to the, the economy. And I think in a lot of ways, I think he was thinking that what was going to happen was by them winning, that was going to bring a lot of favor or bring money or change to the actual economy. So I think that's one of the biggest things for him right now that is like really weighing on him is that he feels like he didn't successfully like fulfill the goal that he had for the country itself. But I don't feel like that's exactly true. I get a sense that he's gonna take some time to lick his wounds because it feels like he's gonna kind of withdraw himself a little bit for a little bit, and because I think that he's having a hard time with how the world is looking at Argentina, considering Argentina's history and everything like that. Like he's actually saddened by like the negative press his country's getting, considering like it's like the place that birthed him and made him who he is and always has supported him. You know what I mean? So like I feel like he's really hurt when it comes to that. Um, just like how they're being viewed and looked at and things like that. I definitely feel like in some ways you're going to see, because when it comes to, for example, like the Israelis and whatever the case, they have a way that if you don't do what they want of really like punishing you in some way. You know what I mean? And I feel like he's going to take some punishment when it comes to that. But I think it's going to open his eyes as well. Because I think See, when it comes to Ronaldo, like Ronaldo would do so much to like prove people wrong and show his worth. When it comes to Messi, I think Messi really loved the sport and he knew he was good at it. But I don't think that Messi really is taking in how much people have taken advantage of him. And I think that this is going to open his eyes of how this takes place and how everyone responds to him. How much in his career is going to finally like wake him up and be like how much he's been taken advantage of, like how much he's given versus what he's received. You know what I mean? Especially the respect. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, when you always give to somebody, you're always giving, 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 giving all the time. No matter what, you're always there for them. You're always understanding, whatever the case may be. But as soon as you don't show up for them the way that they want you to, it's like they act like you've never done anything for them at all. And I think like that's what's gonna end up happening is that he's gonna realize like how much the things that he didn't take as big value, how much people that were receiving it were taking it as value until they realized that they weren't getting it anymore. So that's gonna help him put some boundaries on how much he gives. I definitely feel like he's. I see like a dinner or a sit down with Ronaldo. I see a conversation because I feel like I don't know. I don't think they have any beef, but I feel like whatever that competition was, it died on that pitch. And moving forward, like that's gonna be there. You know what I mean? But that's what I see with Messi. I actually feel like a child or baby or something, or maybe it's a dog that's coming around Messi as well. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's like he's gonna try to lay low. Feels like within the next year, I see number two, number in next year or so, he's gonna retire. But it's gonna be a big valuable lesson for him. You know what I mean? It's like as Ronaldo is having the realization of how much people actually see him and acknowledge him, he's having the realization of how much people have taken advantage of the things that he did, taken advantage of the impact that he didn't acknowledge he had himself. So that's what I see. All right, so that's what I get for World Cup and the three top players that I wanted to tap into. And this wraps up the July mid month recap. All right, okay. So if you guys want to get a private reading with me, you guys can hit me up. All my information is in the description box. Be sure to, especially if you're watching the playback, to like this video, hype the video as well, and make sure you leave a comment. I would love to hear from anyone that has been watching the videos and what your comments maybe be on any of the topics that we talked about today. So I do want to thank you so much for your time and rocking with me and supporting me. May God bless you and the angels protect you. Good night.